So, we've covered how to throw a bunch of stuff up onto your website, including text and images, and how to do some basic styling and formatting for them depending on what sort of text you want to display. However, all things considered, you're going to want people to be able to visit other pages around your site, or maybe even direct them to other places around the web. And for that, you gotta make links. Much like everything else with HTML, making a link on your page is real simple, and the complexity comes when you're actually trying to make it look nice. So for now, let's just learn how to put it in place, yeah? The only tag you need for links is the A tag. The A actually stands for anchor, which I guess makes sense. You are anchoring a link to the page. Anyway, when you create an A tag, you need to add the href attribute, short for hyperlink reference. This is where you're going to put the URL. After that, you put the text you want to act as the link between the opening and closing A tag. And there you go, you got a link. But there are a lot of different ways to enter said link, depending on where you're linking to. Let's start with the most obvious. If you're linking to an external website, all you have to do is add the URL to whatever site you want to link to. So for example, if I wanted to link to Wikipedia, a website that you should totally donate to because it would make a very rich man-child very mad, I just add the Wikipedia homepage URL to the href attribute, and there you go. I have a link on my webpage that will take you directly to Wikipedia. Any link that uses a full web address like this is referred to as an absolute URL. Of course, the other big use for links is navigating to pages on your own website, referred to as relative URLs, and the format is a little bit different there. Instead of typing out a full web address, it's similar to how we embed images. All you have to do is put the name of the HTML document, i.e. another page on your website, into the href attribute. So again, for example, if you wanted to have a links page and you wanted to link it from your home page, we'd make a separate HTML document called links on our main website folder, name it something easy to recognize, like, oh, I don't know, links, and then we'd put links.html into the link tag, and then put some text describing the link, and there we go. We have a link to another page on our site. You can also do this with images. All you have to do is put the image tag in between the opening and closing link tag where you would normally put the text describing it, and voila, you have applied a link to an image. It's just that easy. You can also link sections of the same web page together as well, useful for if you have a really big web page and want people to easily be able to navigate around it, or get back to the top quickly. I'm gonna cover this trick now, but just know it'll make a bit more sense when we start talking about class and ID attributes later on. We won't really be talking about them in depth until, again, we get into CSS. Yet again, bringing up CSS, I'm sorry, but the two are just so intrinsically linked at this point. So anyway, creating section links. First and foremost, create a link tag, and give it a name for the section of the site you want to link to. Let's say we're making a link to go from the bottom of the site to the top, so I create a link at the very bottom of the website, and I call it back to top. Then, in the href attribute, I put in a hashtag followed by a unique ID name. Fun fact, the hashtag actually lets you make a blank link in case you don't have a URL to fill the href with on its own. But in our case, we want the hashtag and an ID name. Next, go to the tag at the top of the section that you want to link to. I'll give it the ID attribute, and then call the ID top. Now, when I go to my site in a browser and scroll past all of the totally interesting stuff I have on there, and get to the bottom of the page, where we have our link, I click it, boom, it brings me all the way back to the top. Don't worry if you found this one a little bit on the confusing side. Like I said, we'll talk more about classes and IDs when we start talking about CSS, since they're pretty important for the process. But wait, there are some other attributes that you can assign to a link tag that can help you control certain aspects, like whether a person clicking on a link will leave your site, or if it opens a link in a new tab or window. First is the title attribute, which basically works just like the alt text attribute for images. If you enter in text into the title attribute, and a person hovers their mouse over the link, it will give them a description of the link itself. Useful for designating the destination or writing some nice, tempting come hither dialogue to get someone to click on that link. Then there is self and blank. Also note that all of these attributes in particular for some reason have to have an underscore in front of them. I'm not sure why, no other attribute up to this point has needed that. But anyway, self and blank attributes. Self is the default. You generally don't have to add that to a link, and it basically just tells the tag that this link should open in the same window. Blank, on the other hand, will open the link in a new tab or window. You'll generally want to use this one for links that go outside your website, or links to other documents like PDFs or Word documents that you decide to add to the site for people to download. And I think that's a pretty good primer for links. But we're gonna cover one more quick element because I couldn't really think of any other time to talk about it, but it's something you'll want to know about to help keep things organized, and that's making comments. Comments are basically notes to yourself contained inside your HTML document. They aren't visible to anyone else. You can put them basically anywhere in the document, and you can also use them to essentially turn off parts of your HTML code without having to delete it, if you want to have the option of bringing it back later on, or compare different layouts without copying, pasting, or deleting the text. Commenting works similar to a meta or image tag, where whatever you want to comment will go inside the tag itself. It doesn't have a closing tag. It's also a bit of a weird looking tag, as it's made up of the less than symbol, an exclamation mark, then 2 hyphens, followed by whatever you want to be in the comment, then another 2 hyphens, and the greater than symbol, and there you go, you've made a comment. Congratulations. Again, whatever's inside the comment is completely invisible to anyone who's not looking directly at the code, so it's handy for leaving notes about organization to yourself or anyone else you plan on showing the backend to. Please don't take that out of context. And with that being said, I think we can move on from links at this point. Next up, I think it's time we take some time to talk about properly organizing your website into sections. And to that end, we're going to be talking about not only tags meant for organization, but semantic and non-semantic tags. Don't worry, it's not that scary of a topic. Until then, be sure to keep circulating the links, and I'll see you all next time.